Hello, everyone. Sorry, I was fixing something on my camera. So, hello and welcome. And I'm back with Usama Darkwing Duck, the terror that flaps in the night. And today we are talking about the most famous, best written book in the world, Usama, I believe. Am I wrong? Am I right?
Hey, not only, first of all, it's good to be with you, brother. Again, sorry we were not together last week for whatever reasons, but praise God that we both alive and we're here with our wonderful audience. Not only it's the best story written, not only the best book we're talking about, but the best story in that book, according to verse 3. So if you go to Quran chapter 12 and verse 3, Allah Himself said, we narrate to you the best of the stories. So it is not just the best book in the world, but the best story in the
I
best.
must admit, it's a frustrating, boring story.
It's just because you're an infidel or you're Islamophobe. That's the only two
I am
reasons.
a proud Islamophobe. Someone I follow on social media on X is Paul Williams, and Paul Williams always comes out with bangers. Like he's got this quote going today from some random American, I don't know, scholar or something, saying that Western society, Western civilization didn't become dominant by its technology, its art, its culture, its thinking, its science. No, no, no. They did it by murdering everyone in their way. And you're like the Muslims had invaded all of North Africa, Asia, Turkey, Europe,
57 Muslim countries so far. I can count them for you.
Western Europe, Eastern Europe. They'd invaded France and Portugal and Spain by the 700s.
Yeah,
What did those Europeans do to them at that point? Nothing. They
nothing.
were the invaders. They initiated, and they seem to conveniently forget that Islam uses violence. Islam has always used violence, and yeah, yeah, very
Only, oh,
frustrating.
no, 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 no. Let me correct you. They use violence when they have the power, when they have the upper hand. But if they are a small in number or do not have enough weapon to fight, they're so peaceful. They're so loving. They're like, wow.
Oh,
Mhm.
and did you see there's potentially this Muslim candidate that may become the mayor of New York?
Oh, yes. And some of the liberal Democrats are really working so hard to help him to win because there's plenty of Muslim in New York and we need to have the right representatives to the Muslims.
That is
MashaAllah.
really, really scary.
It is
You
so
know,
ridiculous. Maybe we should learn about that from the mayor of London. I don't know. Does American people use think about history as a repeated circle somewhere else before it happened here? I mean, why can't we look at the mayor of London? How much this was good for the British?
not at all. You know what is crazy is when you read social media in the UK, France, Germany. I speak to people. They now casually everyone talks about civil war. Everyone talks about uprisings.
It
Everyone
could
talks about
happen. It could
violence.
happen unless they just go ahead and give it to the Muslims. That's all. One of the two.
But you see, there's this undercurrent. You can see there's this dissatisfaction, this anger that is building. You see it, and it's not a civil war. Civil war is between two groups that are both they are natives of the country. That's a civil war. This is not a civil war because this is
It's
against
invasion war.
foreigners.
Yeah.
So, so
Invasion war.
correct. And I mean, it's crazy how it's become a normal part of the discourse. It's
And,
not
and, and
now
by the way, if you talk Lloyd, if you talk to all the Muslims in Europe, I don't care what country you go to, they will not tell you we're Swedish. They're not going to tell you we're British. They're not going to tell you we're French. You know, they say we're Muslims. So that's why this for
loyalty
sure is not a
is
civil
to
war.
Islam.
Yeah.
And this new what's it, Mamdanga, whatever, from New York. I mean, even if he's legit, the problem is he's going to be favored to well, he's going to treat Muslims and Islam favorably, and of course, the Muslim Brotherhood is just going to come in there, and they're eventually going to assert their influence and dominance. And yeah, this is
And by the way, Lloyd, that is the norm. If you put a Christian man in a position, he will help the Christian. But the problem is the Christian will help them within the Constitution. The Muslim will ignore the Constitution and help them to take whatever they want to take. And as I always say, you give Muslim an inch, they go for a few miles.
yeah. So I mean, I'm seeing that this is going to turn really bad. I'm just seeing. there's going to be, unfortunately, I mean, everyone I speak to feels there's going to be violence. And if it happens in the UK, everyone feels that I speak to, it's going to spread to France, to Germany, to Holland, to Belgium, that it's going to, Sweden, Denmark, whatever. We'll see. That's unfortunate, but that's what looks like where it's going to go. Because at this point, there's no political solution. So people are going to go, well, but look at Ireland. They are burning down these asylum homes. They're burning down these asylum centers, these hotels. They're attacking them. And people are looking and seeing, well, violence works. Let's do more of that.
Yeah. And by the way, that's the only way Muslim can really do exactly what they're looking for concerning Sharia. I mean, which Muslim country will Muslim be easy? I mean, even if you go to Egypt, do you think the Muslim Brotherhood can take Egypt easily and practice Sharia in Egypt fully, or do you have to fight? They have to fight their own Muslim, other Muslims, of course, and Christian will do their best to say we don't want it, but it doesn't. Our voice in Egypt as Christian is nothing. It is Muslims fighting Muslims to follow Sharia or keep it where we at. That's exactly.
You think why isn't the Middle East peaceful? If Islam brings peace, why is the Middle East peaceful?
Well, we don't have one Muslim country in the Muslim world in the last 1450 years where they can flourish in peace. It does not. When you have more Muslims in a place like 100%, that's when Muslims start killing other Muslims. But when we have Muslims 80% or so, that's when Muslims really dominating and killing every non-Muslim. And when you have Muslims 40% or so, that's when they're doing the riots and the burning and the terrorization. And I mean, it doesn't matter what level, but there will never be Muslim peaceful living with other people. And the higher the number of the higher the representation of the Muslims in the land, the worse it is. And when it's 100%, that's when you see really Muslims killing other Muslims.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think things are going to get very interesting. So, yeah, let's hope we can make a difference. Tell people to, and also you see more openly public figures talking about Islam, even politicians talking about Islam, and people talking about deportations. I mean, you just see the rhetoric as ratcheting up, and you have to wonder where this is going. But at least I think what's important is that people are educated about Islam, are not fooled by Islam, not fooled by the nice words, not fooled by the propaganda, the lies. And
but it is a small, tiny number of people. I want to see it bigger and bigger. I want to see it grow among, especially younger generation. I mean, I got a phone call yesterday from a friend, and she said, until I listened to you 10 years ago, I did not even know what Islam is. So obviously, there are people learning about Islam, but how many? What is the percentage? Not big.
I don't know. People are learning. People are starting to. I think the message is getting through, though. There's more and more people starting. They know there's a problem, and they're not buying the Islam as peace line, unless, of course, they're a raging leftist.
And think about the number of Muslims are leaving Islam now is growing. 41% of the Muslim of Iran are no longer Muslims. They are something else. Few 100,000 of them are Christian, but majority are becoming atheists. Why? Because they start learning about Islam. See, Muslims are Muslims. They stay Muslim because they think they are in the right place. They are on the right track. But when they find out they're lost and there's no truth for where they're at, that's when they search for something else. Sadly, the devil is so smart. They leave Islam, become an atheist, and dying to go to hell with Muslims for eternity.
Yeah. No, but also the internet is helping to destroy Islam because people are learning about it. But Bob Katie says, this is scary. Our Canadian Prime Minister Carney stated that Muslim values are Canadian values.
Yeah. I saw that video. Unbelievable. Yeah. He said we worship different, but we are on the same track or something like that. What in the world are you smoking or are you drinking, man?
You know, what's crazy in the UK, now that these numbers are coming out, you find that like in Rotherham, like Muslims are like 4% or less. That's Muslims in total, not just Muslim males, right? But Muslims in total are 4% or less of the population, but they were responsible for 70% of the sex crimes.
In England, 2.1, I believe, percent of Muslim, Pakistani, and Bangladeshi are responsible for 84% of child rape. This is given to us by Majid Nawaz, a Muslim man who claimed to be moderate.
No, he's no longer. He's gone back to whatever he was before. He's gone back there. I mean, he's reversed course.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that he belongs to the Quilliam Foundation, which is actually the name of a Englishman who became a Muslim.
Yeah.
You know, people think it's Quilliam. It's so English. No, no, no. It's actually you might want to dig a little deeper. So yeah. So there we go. Yeah, but this also Syria. I mean, you're looking at the people that were killed in Syria. This church that was attacked, and then in Nigeria, 200 Christians killed.
Yeah. Last week. Yeah.
You know, and yeah, this is really. I mean, at some point, what do you do to push back?
Not in the Muslim world. We do not have power to push back. And sadly, the church in the West is not standing for the brothers and sisters in Christ who are being crushed by the Muslims in the Middle East. And it seemed to me it's a fault of the church. If the church in the West will wake up, especially here in America, to speak the truth against the Muslims and what they're doing to the rest of the body of Christ, we will not have it that way. Because we send money to all these countries. We actually send aid.
Why does America still send aid to the Taliban? I believe.
I have no idea. Billions, not millions, billions of dollars.
You're like, at some point that needs to get doged real badly. That's insanity. No, that needs to stop. Honestly, this needs to stop. And I mean, these migrants are responsible. I mean, they're several times more likely to be guilty of violent crimes, sex crimes, child exploitation. You know, various issues, connected dots. Yeah, man, really sad. And the problem is that, I mean, you look at African migrants in the West, 98% of them give the rest a bad name. So,
yeah.
So anyway, we were discussing Joseph.
Absolutely. Joseph it is. Joseph it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, people are going to get angry and people are going to lash out, I think, you know. I suspect at some point people are going to lash out. It's happening in Ireland. I mean, the Irish have a legacy of, you know, the IRA and, you know, fight. That's a recent history of fighting against what they felt as imposition by foreigners, the Brits in this case. And I mean, it could escalate. It's very likely to escalate.
Well, we'll wait and see how it's going to end, because obviously the scripture is very clear. In the end of time, be wars and rumors of wars. It's going to be chaos everywhere. Everywhere. Let's go to Joseph. Let's go to Joseph and his new position in the land of Egypt.
So he's a neighbor of yours, right?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Anyone descended from him? You know anybody?
Manasseh and Ephraim.
Okay, that guy. Yeah. All right. So there are differences, as we've learned, between the story of Joseph in the Quran and in Genesis.
Yeah.
Some serious differences, details that are missing. And yeah, none of this, of course, I believe, makes sense in the Quran, because the whole story just seems to be so contrived, as do all the Quranic stories. And the moral lessons seem to be so not just contrived, but forced.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So then they speak of how Joseph attained his position of authority in the land. Genesis 4:41, Joseph said that Pharaoh should search for a discreet and wise man. He did not say, put me over the land, as Muhammad stated in the Quran. So the truth is that Joseph did not ask, but Pharaoh offered it, as written in Genesis 41. Mm-hmm. Joseph's advice was wise, so Pharaoh asked his servants in verse 38, can we find such a one as this, a man in whom is the Spirit of God? And then, verses 39 to 41, the Pharaoh said to Joseph, inasmuch as God has shown you all this, there's no one as discerning and wise as you. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall be ruled according to your word. Only in regard to the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt.
Notice here, not only we got more details in the Bible, but we got logical details. In the Quran, that is not, you don't have the information. And what is written is not even logical. It makes no sense.
But doesn't the Quran assume that people know the biblical story?
But
You
you're not
mean?
supposed to read the Quran, understand it from the Bible. It's supposed to be the perfect, pure word of Allah, the best of the words of Allah. That is the best. And I love the story of Joseph, and I love so many other parts of the Quran because it does not have any doctrine. It's just a story. It's a history. And if you can believe the history is written like that to be reality, you're out of your mind. And how can you understand it when it's written missing all the details? I'm sorry. No.
It's missing a great deal of details as in every single story, and it makes up crazy details like falling stones crushed their head.
Yeah. Yeah. But here's the truth, Lloyd. Muslim will tell you, well, you could not understand the story of Noah or the story of Abraham or the story of Lot or the story of David or the story of because you have to read the rest of the story of the Quran. But here we go, one full chapter, chapter 12. It is the entirety of the story as Muhammad wrote it as best as he can. And when I read it, I still do not know jack about what I'm reading. If I do not know the Bible. That's why, Lord, I tell the Christians or the Jews, when you read the Quran, remove from your head the knowledge which you know about the story you're reading. Don't use your background in your head here. Oh, I know what Muhammad is trying to say. No. Forget about the Bible, put the Genesis account aside, and try to understand the Quran by reading the Quran. Well, good luck for that.
Yeah, I don't think you can. I'm not seeing that. So Pharaoh honors Joseph by putting his own ring on Joseph's hand, clothes him in fine linen, put a gold chain around his neck, and had him ride in the second chariot. So Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without your consent, no man may lift his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt.
Now, for example, before you read the next statement here, this information does not exist in the Quran. Oh, what you know, Joseph said, oh, make me, make me, I'm the best. Can't you see I'm the best? But so what happened next? It's not there. What happened normally in the history of Egypt, what we're reading in the Genesis account.
Well, so one of the exaggerated statements written by Ibn Kathir was that Joseph was 30 years old when he met with the king. The king spoke to him in, I hope you're sitting down, you're going to be shocked by this. The king spoke to Joseph in 70 different languages.
I don't think we have any pharaoh in Egypt who spoke more than 2-3 languages. I don't think so. And what is the purpose of speaking 70 languages in Joseph's days? I mean, where we get up with this? What do we learn from it? It was like a contest of bragging about themselves who speak more languages than the other?
This is wisdom beyond our understanding.
Yeah, must be wisdom. 70 languages, 7 different languages.
Right, and Joseph was able to respond in all these languages.
Absolutely. Joseph speak all these languages as well too.
Yeah, and the king liked that because Joseph was so young and obviously had spent all his time just learning languages. So, and Allah, of course, knows best. And don't question Allah because Allah is right.
Sure.
And
Yep.
And
everybody is wrong and Allah is right. And for sure, Muhammad told the truth.
Did Allah say this in the Quran that Joseph spoke 70 languages?
No, that is a funny thing. I mean, the story of the Quran does not have this information. This was added by Ibn Kathir. I have no idea where Ibn Kathir come up with this, except that they're making up stuff. What is the purpose? You didn't even give me the story of Joseph to add more nonsense to it.
Right. But clearly, Ibn Kathir was sitting here thinking, this is a boring story. I feel like, let me add a few details to just make it more interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
To put Joseph at 30 years of age will contradict the earlier statement in which Muslim scholars mention that he was at the age of strength, meaning 40, as stated in Ibn Kathir's interpretation of Quran 22:5. We all know people get older as years go by, not younger.
Well, he was 40 and then he became 30. You see, that is, now I know for sure that the Quran is telling the truth.
Allah's miracles know no bounds.
If you are a Muslim and you submit, you just believe. You know what I like about Brother Yusuf? We have Brother Yusuf with us in one of our broadcasts you and I have a few weeks ago, and he said when he was a Muslim, listen to this, he could not understand the Quran. So the conclusion he came up with, Brother Lloyd, it is not that there is anything wrong with the Quran. It is something wrong with him. His brain cannot understand the true, perfect word of Allah in the Quran. It is the stupidity is in him, not in the Quran. Nothing wrong with the Quran. But he could not understand the Quran because it's him. Yusuf was the problem, not Allah, not the Quran, not Muhammad. Can you imagine Muslim read the Quran with that concept?
I don't think you have any other choice, to be honest.
If you want to stay, if you continue to believe and you want to stay in your I believe that the Quran is the perfect word of Allah, then something is wrong with me.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So in conclusion, Allah said in Quran 12:56, and likewise we establish for Joseph in the land that he may choose from it whatever he wills. We give our mercy to whom we will. We do not waste the wage of the doers of good. And the wage of the hereafter is better to those who believed and were fearers.
Sure.
And this is the reward of Allah to the believers, which is when the king of Egypt had fight Al-Aziz.
Once again, we never have a king in Egypt by the name Al-Aziz.
You know, I was thinking today, people going on about Palestine, which is obviously in the news and all of that, but what language did the Palestinians speak?
Greek.
What was the name of the Palestinian king, the first couple of kings? What was their, what writings did they create? What documents did they make? What was their holy book called? You know, these Palestinians were real people, right? From a real country with the real culture.
And they lived there from the days of Abraham until 604 before Christ, when Nebuchadnezzar came and destroyed
the Jews kicked them out in 1947. 1946, the Jews kicked them out or whatever. So these were Palestinians.
Are you talking about the Arab who are not Arab who live in the land now, or you talk about the original Greek?
No, but the Palestinians, the Palestinians, they were a land, a people.
Brother.
They must have had a language.
Palestinians, the Kaftir people, the northern people, the sea people, the people of Kaftir. I mean,
the Philistines. The Philistines died out long ago.
So these not Palestinians. You're talking about mixed Arab blood with Syrian and Jordanian.
Yeah, but they say that the Palestinians were living in Israel from the 1st century already. And so how come the Romans don't write about the Palestinians? How come they don't say they write about the Jews, they write about the revolts of the Jews, they write about the Jews that they conquered, they write about the Jews in the temples, they write about the Jews doing this, and they never write about, why did these Romans never write about the Palestinians?
Well, I got a slide to read for you. One of my slides in my presentation, Israel Palestine. I think it's so powerful because it too is a reality. It was a guy by the name Emperor Hadrian who named it Assyria Palestina, not Palestine, but Assyria Palestine, because start in the north of Syria and down also, which by the way covered part of Egypt, the Sinai Desert, and part of the Saudi Arabia, and that was 150 AD after the Bar
Kokhba revolt.
After revolt, yeah, the Bar Kokhba revolt, exactly.
Just retarded history.
Let me show you that piece of land. I need to watch, show you this slide too. I do not know if I can share it with you.
Yeah, you probably can. Just go ahead.
Okay, share. And we're gonna go to here. We're gonna pick up this one and share.
So where are you sitting today, Osama? Because that's not your usual.
Can you see that?
Yes.
You see that?
Here it is. It's on screen.
Yeah, that is how big is the land. If Muslims want to stick with that, that means we're going to lose Lebanon, we're going to lose part of Syria, we're going to lose part of Jordan, and we're going to lose part of Saudi Arabia, and we're going to lose part of Egypt, because that is a Syria Palestina, according to this emperor. I don't think the Egyptian will give up this piece of land for the Palestinians. I don't think the Arab Saudi Arabia will lose this piece of land for the Palestinians. I don't think the Jordanian or the Syrian or the Turkish. I mean, we're taking all this land, brother.
Yeah, it looks a little full there. So why didn't the Turks give it back to the Palestinians when they had it? It's just insane. The Ottomans didn't do anything with it. One has to wonder. Al-Aziz, but that's a good pharaoh's name. I'm sure if we go back in history,
Al-Aziz, my foot.
check on Wikipedia, we'll find
Let me
Emperor
put it this way.
Al-Aziz.
Let me put it this way. If Muslim can produce us any document of any Egyptian historians or any Greek historians or any Roman, somebody that Egypt ever had a pharaoh by the name Al-Aziz, I will convert Islam. I will leave Christianity. I'll be the best darn imams you can ever have. Show me Al-Aziz in the history of Egypt in the past.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find it. We're gonna.
I know there's King Muhammad ibn Abdul Aziz that's in Saudi Arabia, but that was not Egyptian. He was not a pharaoh, okay?
And Zuleika, is that a good Egyptian name, Zuleika?
No, this is made up. All this is made up.
Yeah. So these are two Egyptians who had bought Joseph as a slave.
But
Right?
the first thing is, we know from the Bible what's the real name of Joseph's wife. And it's a Coptic name, by the way.
Wow. And Zuleika was the woman who tried to seduce Joseph. Where do they get these names? Who knows? Who does it? Let's not confuse ourselves with the facts. So, Joseph's marriage. Another interpretation is that after Pharaoh fired her husband, Al-Aziz, Joseph got his job. And after he died, the king married Joseph
So
Al-Aziz.
Joseph became just a khassi? I mean, became like a worker for Pharaoh? Didn't we just read a minute in the Bible ago that he was the second man in charge of all Egypt, even the house of Pharaoh? Why you lose a position such as that and to work like a government official for the Pharaoh? See the nonsense?
Yeah, and then Joseph married her, and he found her to be a virgin.
Ooh.
For her husband did not have any desire to be with women.
Maybe that's why she was excited about having Joseph in bed.
Right, and she bore two sons to Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh. And Ibn
Wait
Kathir.
a minute. Where did Ibn Kathir come up with this knowledge, man? Are you serious? You're reading that from Ibn Kathir, right? Or you made it up? I think you're lying.
Some guy called Usama who wrote some book about this.
This was in my writing. Did I put that there?
Apparently so. Some guy Usama something or other wrote something about this, and I'm just saying what he said. I'm just reporting. Don't shoot the messenger.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah. So when then Joseph led the king of Egypt to accept Islam.
Oh, the Pharaoh became a Muslim. Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah, MashaAllah, Allahu Akbar. I'm so excited about my ancestors. And Allah knows best. No, Allah does not know anything. Allah does not know jack about Islam, because if Allah knew that, He should have put it in the Quran.
So they need to tell us about this form of Islam that was practiced back then. Where's the book? Where are the practices? Someone talk to us about this.
Well, see, when the Christians came to Egypt, they burned all these books so they can make Joseph a Jew and make Pharaoh a Pharaoh.
I don't get this. Okay, fine. Why doesn't academia just call BS on this?
No, they will not upset the Muslims. They will not upset the Muslims because they don't want to be in trouble with the Muslims. I mean
these
who
are-
would like to have his head off, man?
These are obviously trash claims. So Joseph becomes the king of Egypt. He rules with justice in the land, and the men and women loved him.
Whoa. Who became the king of Egypt?
Joseph.
Oh, okay. That's new information for me, man. I'm learning.
King
I'm learning.
Joseph. Don't you remember? Third Dynasty?
King Joseph? Yeah, I think I kind of heard that name
The
before.
Third Dynasty, episode 3.
But wait a minute. We never have King Joseph in Egypt, so I don't know which Joseph are you talking about. Maybe he have a different name? Do you know what's amazing? Even in the Bible, Pharaoh renamed Joseph to another name.
What did he call him? Like, he called him Jimmy?
No, he gave him an Egyptian name, a Coptic name. Well, we can go to the scripture and read it. No problem, man. We'll get to it, okay?
So he rules with justice in the land, and the men and women love him. And where does Ibn Kathir get all this information? Obviously, he
Uh,
copied.
Quran, Second Opinion, chapter 18, verses 24 to 29. I believe that's where these 5 verses, very important 5 verses. Second Opinion in the Quran.
Yeah, this hurts my. I mean, honestly, why
It
are
was,
scholars
you
not
see,
calling?
yeah, okay, but Lloyd, Muslims believe the reason Ibn Kathir is a scholar because he knows all this information. Normal Muslims do not know that, but Ibn Kathir know it. That's why he's a scholar. Okay,
This is retarded.
listen, you need to say the Shahada, and after that, everything will be clear like crystal. Trust me, I know this to be a fact.
Okay, right. So, oh no, now I can see why they just called him Jimmy.
Scholar.
Well, because I mean, because Ibn Kathir had a problem reading this name in Genesis 41. Pharaoh changed the name of Joseph
Ah.
to Zaphanath Paneah.
Okay, that's not an Arab name. That's a Coptic name. I know this for a fact because even if you don't know how to pronounce it right, but that is a real Coptic name. Okay, go ahead.
Great. So good thing Coptic names are not popular.
No.
I can see
And he
why.
married to who?
And he married him to Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera. Or
Okay.
Potiphera,
Oh, the priest.
the
So he
priest
did
of
not
God.
marry Al Aziz's wife, who was still a virgin. I think now, see, when you read the story, the scholars' interpretation, they make the Quran make sense. Remember when he saw Joseph was her at the door in the Quran, and he found that it was her she wanted Joseph so badly, he never got upset. He never killed her. He never killed Joseph, and he just left them alone in the house. He does not have the desires of men. He does not like women. I don't know. He does not like anything. So maybe she can go ahead and enjoy Joseph. You see? And now she's married to Joseph. 2 boys, Manasseh and Ephraim. Now, why they did not name Manasseh and Ephraim 2 Arabic names like Ali and Hussein? Think about it. Joseph is a Muslim guy. He should name his sons Ali, Mahmoud, Mustafa, Hussein, something, fit with Islam, man. But that's okay.
Yeah, okay.
And by the way, every name in the Bible have a meaning. So Manasseh and Ephraim, we'll name Manasseh Ephraim for a reason. We're going to get to it, I hope, in a minute here. Go ahead, bro.
Right. So, of course, we can read about. So, this is the account concerning Joseph's marriage, right? As for his sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, one can read about them.
Can you read 70 and 71? What is 70 is?
Manasseh, name means, for God has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house.
That's from the word yansa. Yansa means forget. Okay. How about Ephraim?
For God has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction.
Does Muhammad have one name in the Quran with a meaning? Just do me a favor. You can go ask AI, search in online, read all the books written by mankind. Give me one name in the Quran was given because the name means something. Can you find me one name?
We can ask the audience to have a look at that. The Pharaoh took Shahada. It's in Surah
Allah Akbar,
117.
Allah Akbar. He said it in the Arabic language. I remember. Ashhadu anna la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna mudahdam Rasulullah. I remember when he said it. It was hard on his tongue to say because he's a Coptic, he's a Pharaoh. But
No,
he
it's
said
in Surah 117, but I heard him say it once, actually, because he went Klaatu, Niktu. I'm pretty sure.
That's exactly, I remember it. Listen, it was Tuesday. No, it was Friday afternoon, and it was raining day. I remember that.
Yeah, no, that was the Klat. That was the Shahada that I think it's Klaatu Nikto. Yeah, I think we know what he said, and then
me too. I think I understood exactly what he meant by what he said. Yeah.
If you've seen the movie, you'd know what I'm talking about.
Oh. You're a
Oh
bad
man,
boy, Lloyd. You are a bad
they
boy.
no, that's a classic piece of cinema, man.
It is. Okay.
But they really took advantage of a lack of education, says Ave Maria Theotokos. Yeah, how many Muslims don't even read and write Arabic, let alone have any general education?
But don't forget, Joseph spoke and read 70 language.
So he would have understood what I just said.
Do you think in Joseph's times there were 70 language on earth?
I have no idea, but this is like,
Excuse me,
why
excuse me,
would-
but I have to get this quickly if you don't mind. If you don't mind.
Sure. So yeah, while we're waiting for Usama, yesterday was a crazy day for me. I had a gas leak, had two gas leaks in the apartment because when everything was installed, it wasn't checked properly by the builders, and I had 4 points in the bathroom piping where the gas was leaking, and then one in the kitchen as well. And it actually got to the point we were aware there was a problem, but yesterday I was at home and I actually started to get sick, felt dizzy. It was pretty bad. And eventually I realized what was happening, opened the windows, the doors, and I went out immediately to get someone to fix it. Eventually, long story short, replaced the gas boiler in the bathroom and replaced all the piping. So, yeah. So yesterday I was planning to do a stream, but I was not feeling so great. After that, it was quite a
Yeah, yeah.
tense
Brother
day.
Lloyd, I have a question for you. What is worse, reading the Quran or breathing that gas?
You know, reading the Quran just is trauma that stays with me. Honestly, yeah, I was lucky. I mean, but you was, but seriously, it was not a. Do not strike a match. No, I did not. But I might strike a pose. Yeah. So if Pharaoh, so let's see. Seven says if Pharaoh was Muslim, shouldn't all of ancient Egypt have been Muslim? And there's nothing
At
about
least,
such things, and no
at least
evidence.
you should have some. I mean, but we don't have any. But see, Muslim here actually means submit to Allah. Believe
Yeah,
in Allah.
but then Buddha was a Muslim too. He submitted to his God.
No, but you have to submit to the true God and his Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah, but they always say Jesus was because he submitted to God. He submitted to his God. I mean, they always try to broaden that definition, and they know exactly what they're doing. We know exactly what they mean, but they always try to weasel the way out. This is just the pipes were doing jihad on me exactly. So yeah, it was Iran. It was Iran. I'm telling you, I had Iran in my pipes. So
Ah, God is good. I'm glad you're okay, brother. I'm really glad.
yeah, it was a fun day. My throat's a little bit, but anyway. So when Joseph died at the age of 110, he had never been a king.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to make him a king? You see, Allah treated Joseph better than God did, because God just made him like second banana,
Second man in
whereas
charge.
Allah made him the big cheese.
It's a little bit different here. And by the way, in the Bible, it was very clear. Pharaoh told Joseph, "You are second after me, and without me, you could do nothing." I mean, he was very Pharaoh emphasized, "I am in charge of the land, and you're just a second man."
Right. So I mean, this is not recorded in history, is it?
Yeah. No, of course not. I mean, in the Egyptian history, yes, actually, there was some discovery about Joseph in Egypt. There was a map 60 by 70
Yeah, but
centimeters.
a Muslim pharaoh you'd think would make the news, right?
Oh, if he was a Muslim, for sure. Yeah. Well,
So
yes.
the Bible stated that there was a new king, and knew neither Joseph nor his people. He took over the kingdom of Egypt. If Joseph had become king, one of his sons would have become the heir, which is a good point.
Sure. Then
So
you have
many areas of
Manasseh
power.
is a king, and Ephraim and their kids. But it's just the lies of Ibn Kathir is 100% true lies. Why? First of all, it was not in the Quran. Second of all, there's no anything to support it afterwards. When you read the Bible, lots of information. When we talk about the general writing of Ibn Kathir, he will making up stuff, and he will not even have anything to back it up. But you go to the Bible, you find, wait a minute, that's not what the Bible said. And a little bit later, we know for sure that's not what the Bible said. So I give you a good example. We already talked about that. In the Bible, Joseph was received 2 dreams, and he shared the dream with his brothers and his father. And the Bible said, and that's why they hate him more. Now, in the Quran, he did not tell the dream to his brothers, and his father told, don't tell to your brother. But you go a little bit later in the Bible, when they saw Joseph coming from the land of Dothan as he was searching for his brothers, he said, hey, here he is, the dreamer. Let's see how his dream will help him. So you see, there is internal evidence in the Bible somewhere else that what we read earlier in the passage of the Bible is true. Now, and if you go to the Quran, they always make up stuff. Scholars of Islam, not just Ibn Kathir, Al-Tabari, Al-Qurtubi, Al-Jalalain, everybody, Damakhshari, everybody. They make up stuff, and you could not find anywhere else later supported, but the opposite. The more you dig in, you find something, go in the opposite.
You know what struck me was when you read the different scholarly accounts, the Muslim scholars' accounts of the ascension of Jesus at the time. So, at least the Islamic version of it. So basically, they're in Jerusalem, and then these Jews want to kill Jesus, and then Jesus is rescued by Allah. He's taken up into heaven, and his likeness is put on a young boy or whatever. Now that story, what I found, I think 7 or 8 different versions of that story that were in existence at the time. And what I learned from the scholarship was that basically a version was picked and became canonical.
Yeah.
There was no particular way to choose between any of them. They just selected
They don't know, and the evidence it is in the writing. اختلف العلماء, اختلف المفسرون, والله أعلم. Scholars disagree, interpreters disagree, and Allah knows best. Well, I'm sorry, this is dumb.
So which version? There's 8, I think something like 8 versions I found, and they just picked one at random and said, okay, it's going to be this one that becomes canonical. And you're but the rest were just as likely to be the correct story because, there was there's no way they could justify choosing this one over that one over this one.
Sure.
And it's like, how?
And by the way, Lloyd, they're not a close interpretation, which if we're talking about the same person and you take it from different angle, this is what happened, or maybe that's what happened. No, that's happened. But we're talking about too many different stories. Is it the little boy? Is it Judas Iscariot? It is Simon the Qarwani, the man who carries the cross? Is it? I mean, who did it? Good luck.
Yeah, no, it's just insanity, honestly. So the first trip of Joseph's brothers to Egypt.
Notice we're going to read 3 trips when the Bible only said 2, but that's okay.
Okay, I mean,
one more is not going to hurt anything.
The Quran's just trying to make it more interesting, more accessible.
Brother, nothing interesting about the Quran. Not Joseph, not Moses, not Noah, not Muhammad. Nothing.
So why are we talking about this? So Quran 12:58 to 62. I'm going to try and do this like a, like the guy that does this whole movie voice.
I want you to be serious now. Don't
the movie voice. The guy that does the trailer voice. We discover the first visit of Joseph's brothers to Egypt. Yeah. And Joseph's brothers came, so they entered to him. Only one man can solve it.
Just think about it. They entered to him. Does this make any sense? I mean, Egypt have 2 houses, the house of Pharaoh and the house of Joseph, and that's it. Hey, they go to Egypt.
No, but when you read it, it's like something that's trying to sound like Shakespeare, but it's really badly done. It's trying to sound Shakespearean, but it's just terrible.
You need to read the Arabic now. You make it twice as worse. But go ahead.
So he knew them, and they were unaware of him. And when he had provided them with their provision, he said, bring me a brother of you from your father.
Stop it. Do you think it's a logical story here?
Bring me a brother of you from your father. Don't you say that every day?
No, not just a sentence. Not just a sentence. You talk to people, Hey, how are you doing? Doing good. Where you guys from? Oh, what's your family? How many children? Oh, you got another brother. Oh, well, bring him with you next time. You see the conversation here?
Yeah, I
No,
know. And
you didn't
I
say
mean,
hello. You didn't say salam alaikum. You didn't say anything. Bring me a brothers of yours from your father.
and also he provided them with their provision. He shopped them with their shopping. He vegetabled them with their vegetables. He fruited them with their fruit. I mean, okay,
Amen.
fine. That's
Amen. Yes.
so. If you do not bring him to me, so no measure will there be for you from me, and nor will you come near me.
This is a very dry cut verse, man. It's like we're missing a good couple paragraph between it. There must be something else has been said. And Allah forgot to mention to Jibreel, to Gibrish, and Gibrish forgot to Muhammad. Or Muhammad received it, but he lost it.
Yeah. So they said, we will persuade his father of him,
Okay.
and we will surely do that.
When he was saying, bring me a brother of you from your father. How can you have a brother not from your father?
Well, it's a little
Whoa,
obvious.
whoa, whoa. You mean bring me a brother of you from your mother whom she slept with somebody else? But see, the problem is in the Quran, you will never figure out that Joseph have a different mother than the rest of the other three mothers of his brothers. There is no four wives, four ladies, or Grandpa Jacob was having good time with to produce one girl and 12 boys. That does not happen in the Quran. So when Muhammad say, bring me of you, bring me a brother of you from your father, it does not make any sense. It's a stupid
But he just
thing.
does this randomly, just because, hey, dudes, thanks for buying stuff here. Just bring me a brother. Like, that's kind of arbitrary. How do we get there from here? How do we?
But the logical, if he is their brother, he have to be from their father.
Well, you do know it's possible to have a brother from another mother.
But not in the Quran, because the Quran did not say anything about other mothers.
Right. So, I keep feeling like I'm reading The Cat in the Hat. Honestly, hold on, hang on. Cat in the. But I honestly keep
Cat
feeling
in the
like
hat.
this is what I am reading.
Cat in the hat is cat. Oh, that is Cat in the Hat?
Yeah, this is The Cat in the Hat here.
Yeah, read something for me.
I keep feeling like we looked and we saw him step on the mat. We looked and we saw him, the cat in the hat. And he said to us, why do you sit there like that? I know it is wet and the sun is not sunny, but we can have lots of good fun that is funny.
Are you reading that? What chapter of the Quran? That sounds like the Quran, man.
That does. That's the problem. I constantly
That's not the Quran?
No, but I constantly feel like this is what I'm reading.
Somebody, this is plagiarism. Somebody took that from the Quran and add a cat to it and put a window and draw a cartoon. We can sue you, this company. Who did this? I need the name of these people.
But for the audience, doesn't it? I constantly feel like I'm reading Dr. Seuss when I'm reading the Quran.
Oh,
this is exactly how it comes across to me.
It's an old doctor, man. The kids used to like his stories years ago, not anymore.
This is an old book. This is probably older than the Quran. I mean, the Quran's only been around since 1920.
Hey, listen. Thank God this was written after the Quran was finished. Otherwise, Muhammad would have mentioned some of this stuff in his Quran.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to read The Cat in the Hat after this just to detox my brain because I remember this fondly. From my childhood,
brother, I don't like you to mock the word of Allah. We Muslims do not like people to be skeptic like you and mocking the word of Allah. So you have to read. Can you wash your hand now before you read the Quran?
No.
No. Okay, then go ahead and read. That's okay.
You know what's crazy? The UK, where this guy burned the Quran and he was recently fined in court for doing so. When he burned the Quran in front of the Turkish embassy, two men stopped. One guy stopped on a bike and attacked him, kicked him. Another guy came out with a knife from the embassy, tried to kill him. Neither of those men has been charged in the UK. They tried to assault and murder this man. They weren't touched. But the guy who burned the Quran, his own Quran.
You know why? Because these two guys never read the Quran. Neither the British read the Quran.
But,
Have these two guys read the Quran, they will have no problem for him to burn the Quran. As a matter of fact, imagine if he knows the history of the Quran. When Osman ibn Affan,
if you're white and you put out a tweet, they'll send you to jail for 3 years.
I know this.
But then you literally are filmed trying to stab and slash someone to death with a knife, and the police don't even care.
That was nothing. But have these two Muslims know the true history of Osman ibn Affan burning the original 7 Qurans to make up his own Quran? They should see nothing wrong about any idiot today burn any Quran. You can how much money do you have? You can buy 10,000 copies of the Quran and burn them. They're still making profit out of it. The Quran costs $1 to print, and he sell it for 20 or 30 or 40. That's a good profit. They're making good money. But neither the Muslims who are so mad they want to kill the guy read the Quran, nor the stupid government of England read the Quran. If the government of England read the Quran, they will make it a law. Anybody found a Quran, please burn it. Can you imagine that was me? They will reward people, not put them in jail, of burning the Quran, the book which will destroy the entire country.
Yeah. I know. This is just...
People are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, guys, once we're done with this, I think
you read another cat.
I think
that's the last cat I'm going to let you read.
Later.
The word of Allah, brother.
These things will not bite you. They want to have fun. Then out of the box came thing 2 and thing 1. This is so much better than the Sorry.
You're a bad boy today, Lloyd. Lloyd, what happened to you? Did you breathe so much of this gas?